This is the Pound for Pound Boxing Show in association with 30 South and Boxing Hub Community. I'm here with Nathan Hitman Heaney. Thank you for coming on today, man. How you doing, champ?
Yeah, very good, Jermaine. Thank you very much, mate. Good being on here, man, and just talking about whatever we're going to talk about.
Brilliant. We're gonna start off with you. Obviously, middleweight, super middleweight, and super middleweight boxer. You can campaign at both weights. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, technically, basically, I'm a middleweight, but for whatever reason, my fights have been managed or set at like a pound over the middleweight limit. So, for example, last time I boxed with a super middleweight IBO Continental, but it was actually 11 stone 8, so it was nowhere near the top end of super middleweight. And like my next fight is again super middleweight, but it's actually 11 stone 7, so it's only £1 over the super middleweight limit. So I don't know why it's been done. My manager said if it's not a title fight, he just puts it 11-7. I think it makes it easier for the opponents, so they haven't got to get that kind of weight. So I don't think it's not really doing me a favour. Like I think it's doing them a favour because they must have had a bit of food in lockdown or something. So yeah, it's one of them.
Brilliant, champ. Obviously, I want to talk about it. Obviously, you're 10-0, 3 coming by the way of knockout. I want to ask you, what got you first into boxing, and who's your boxing inspiration?
Yeah, so first up, like it's my dad was like the person that got me involved in boxing. He was a former amateur boxer himself. His name's Heaney, and yeah, he did it from like he was a bit of a rogue as a young kid, late teen. He thought he was rock hard until he went to the boxing gym in his early 20s and realised that he wasn't so hard as he thought he was. And then he saw how he sort of changed his like perception in terms of his morals and how he acted. And I think he thought it'd do the same for me for his son, obviously, when I was born. So from the moment I was born, I've been boxing. It's been involved in it. Went to the gym at the age of 9 years old and had my first amateur contest at 11. And then boxed every single year until I retired from amateur boxing at the age of 26.
Brilliant, chap. I understand you're actually a school teacher. So what's it like? Obviously,
yeah.
Do they know? Do students know your box in your?
Yeah. I don't think they not appreciate it. That sounds a bit narcissistic, but I don't think they understand that. Like maybe when they see me fight on BT Sports next time, they might see it a little bit differently. I'm not too sure, but they know I've boxed on TV before. But I think they just see me as their teacher. So it's and they're all football focused as well. They're mainly football lads, my lot, also some of the girls and that. So they're probably not even that big on boxing. But I think as it develops, I think they might change their opinions a little bit. But at this moment in time, I don't think they're too fussed.
Yeah. I'm sure after your fight on BT Sport, I'm sure they're gonna move over and start following boxing a bit more.
Yeah, hopefully, mate. Who bloody knows? Who knows? But they sound like already.
Yeah. I want to ask you a bit. Let's talk about that famous video that's gone viral.
Yeah.
You coming out your famous ring walk, coming out to Tom Jones's Delilah in your hometown of Stoke. Absolutely electric atmosphere. How was that? Obviously, ring walk. How did it feel for you?
It was amazing because like what happened that night in terms of the walkouts, in terms of the event being completely sold out. That was what that's what I wanted as a professional fighter. And what was really good about it as well is it was completely sold out and all that kind of stuff way before I was signed by Frank Warren. So it was like, so all my guys have been following me just based on supporting the local lad from Stoke. Not that I'm this big, massive person that's been signed straight as an amateur with Queensbury Promotions or Eddie Earn and them. It's like a proper homegrown sort of support base that I've got. But yeah, it's incredible, man. And just to see, like, exactly what I saw happen on that night is what I envisioned. But I never envisioned it going viral. I never thought that people would be that buzzing about it in a wider audience. But you saw it yourself. It got bloody shared everywhere. Even recently, it went viral when it first happened. But then more recently, about 4 weeks ago, I think Football Away Days shared it. That went viral. Some Polish page shared it. That went like 700,000 views. It's been really good. So people have enjoyed it.
Yeah, this shows you obviously how the locals in Stoke get behind their fighters. Actually, electric night. It just shows you how important boxing fans are in general, and hopefully we one day do get fans back in venues just like that?
Well, I'd say it's without the support and the noise, it's nothing really. Like for my next fight, it's I'll still perform the same because I'm a fighter. Whether there's 10,000 people there or there's no one there, like you've got to do the job regardless of what's happening. But it just won't be as enjoyable. Like there's nothing more like it literally gives you goosebumps. At the time, it's a bit weird. I don't really take it in as much because I'm focusing on the fight. Although I know what's going on, do you know what I mean? But you're that focused on what's going on. You don't really hear what's going on as such. But when you watch the videos back and you see the footage, it gives you goosebumps and stuff. It is good. It's good.
That's exactly the word I would use, goosebumps, because when I first saw that, I was like, wow, that's actually amazing.
And that's it. And it's not like, and again, it's not. I'm not. Well, I am now. I am a Frank Warren fighter, but I wasn't a Frank Warren fighter before. Like, and I think a lot of them lads on them kind of, obviously with Sky Sports and BT Sports, I don't think loads have got that kind of that backing. So I'm very fortunate. Yeah, I'm fortunate.
Yeah, you mentioned your son Frank Warren, Queensbury Boxing Promotions. You mentioned in one of your interviews recently that you didn't expect Frank Warren to sign you at obviously 31 years of age. He usually tends to sign a younger fighter.
Yeah, well,
how did it feel to be signed by such a great promoter, Hall of Famer?
Well, amazing. When me and my dad, I boxed from the age of 11, but I was essentially forced into boxing. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like me. It wasn't something I wanted to do really. And then at about the age of 17, I watched Frankie Gavin win the World Amateur Championship, like the first ever person to do it. And then also when I saw that, then I was like, oh my god! I always wanted to be a footballer before that. I was never going to make that in the end. But boxing, I thought, you know what? I've done this for so long. I might be able to do this. So from the age of 17 until I retired, the whole idea was to win the ABAs. So you got signed by Frank Warren. Also, I got signed by Frank Warren, but I never won the ABAs. So I thought I was never interested in turning professional because I know you got to do it from the hard way up. But yeah, I ended up doing it anyway. And then fortunately, I got signed by Frank Warren in the end anyway, as like you say, 31-year-old. So it's I'm a young 31. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I really am a young 31. I was a late maturer. I matured late growing up and stuff, and so I think at the time I was gutted. I was like, bloody, I want to look like a man when I was like 21. I was baby faced, but then I think it's actually done me a favour now. And yeah, it's just all I got to do now is just prove that one, I've got the support, the backing, and that, but I can also fight as well, which I'm sure they know I can fight. So that's why they signed me as well.
Yeah, well, there's no bigger platform to showcase your talents than BT Sport and Frank Warren Boxing Promotion. Great opportunity for you. We're going to start off with your fight coming up on the 27th of February on the Herring Carl Frampton undercard. Massive opportunity for you. It's going to be obviously fighting live on TV. How do you feel going into this fight? How's camp going?
Yeah, really good. I was originally meant to be fighting on the second BT Sports show of the year, so I thought it was going to be end of March. I was going to be fighting, but in the back of my mind, I did think, I wonder if they'll put me on that first show of the year, because they were originally meant. I was meant to fight on this card on December 19th, because that's when they were originally planning for it, but it never obviously got finalised for the world title. So to now be put on that, I was training for this date anyway, because I always thought in the back of my mind they put me on it, and they did. So I'm feeling good. The training's going well. I've literally got 2 weeks left of. Is it 2 weeks? Yeah, 2 weeks left of odds. No, a week and 2 days of hard training left. And it's just like a taper week that I'll do. But yeah, feeling good, mate. I sparred good. As you can see, I've had a few hard rounds and stuff. So no, I'm buzzing for it. I'm ready.
I mean, it's a great, obviously, like we just mentioned, obviously, Herring Frampton, a chance for Carl Frampton to become a free-weight world champion. And obviously being part of this great historic night for you, how exciting is it for you as well?
Yeah, to be like, it's not like a normal show, is it? Like it's a potentially an historic night, an historic event, and not only that, Frampton, he pulls some massive numbers in terms of viewing figures. So I'm very, very fortunate to be on it as well. And I mean, I'm an Englishman through and through, make no mistake, but I have got an Irish surname, so it's it might work well with some of the guys that are watching on TV from Ireland or Northern Ireland or whatever. But yeah, it's great, and just to be on a massive world title undercard like that is really good. And hopefully, just if I perform well and everything goes well, it should hopefully put me in stead to either headline or be on bigger shows in the future, or just as big a show.
Of course, 100%. I mean, like I said, it's a massive platform. You know, Frank's is capable of getting these fighters big fights. He's proved that in the past, and so yeah, I mean, you put in a good performance, the sky's the limit, really.
Yeah.
Obviously, I want to talk a bit about the division you're in. You've got some very good fighters in that division, on the domestic level. Obviously, yourself, you got the winner between Felix Cash and Bentley. You got other Liam Williams, Chris Eubank Jr., Mark Heffron, Cody Davis. The list goes on. There's some great fights out there. If you could, not looking past your opponent, but if you could get one of those fighters in the ring, which one of those fighters would you like to maybe fight if you could?
From, like you said, bloody middleweights, the division stacked domestically. Obviously, Bentley's the British champion against Cash, so that's a great fight. But if you were to pick like a dream fight out of all those, I think it'd be Eubank Jr. really, in terms of like with him being such a massive name, and obviously me having a big Stoke City backing and the Stoke backing as well. They could do something massive with that. But like you say, you can't look over the opponents like that I've got now, and I've still got another. I'd have to have Chris Eubank wouldn't even know who the bloody hell I am. Do you know what I mean? Would never have a clue. Like, but I'm 11th in Great Britain at this moment in time, so I'd probably say in another 2 or 3 fights, get pushed in that top 6, top 5, hopefully in the UK, and then you never know what could happen after that. But like Bentley's not going to want to give his title away easy. I do think he might. It's a tough one with him and Cash, but I think he might beat Felix Cash just because he can bang, and he boxed really well against Mark Heffron in his last fight as well. And if he does that same performance, I think he'll do really well. But yeah, like to be fair, I don't think I'm high enough yet to call anyone else in terms of saying I want to fight this guy, I want to fight that guy. But if it's right and there's a good result, like a good reward at the end of it, I'd fight any of them. But some guys are way beyond others, like Liam Williams. I think he'd be, well, him and Liam Smith are the danger men of the division. Like, I think they beat everyone in that division, both of them. So it's yeah.
Obviously, let's touch on a bit about Liam Williams. Obviously, he's finalised his fight for April against Demetrius Andrade for the WBO middleweight title. How do you rate his chances going over there and becoming a world champion?
You see, I've never watched Andre, so I don't really know what his abilities like and so on. People said he's really good and awkward, but for me, Williams is just. I think he is world level. I think since he had the 2 losses with Smith, possibly should have won the first one. Or I can't even remember what happened in them fights, but I know they're a bit controversial in the way that the results went, but from the cuts and so on. But I think he's improved massively with Dominic Ingle, and I think he's a completely different machine to what he was before. Obviously, he's called the machine, isn't he? But he's, in my opinion, he's a world level fighter. And it's, yeah, I think he'll go over there, and I think he'll cause a shock. And then, yeah, and I think he deserves it. He's knocked everyone else. Like even like, yeah, he's just a really, really, really good fighter, and I think he is world level.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I had an interview with him towards the end of last year, and he just before obviously this fight was finalized, and he was just talking about how desperate he is to get a world title fight. He's been waiting a long time for this opportunity, and now it's came about. I'm sure he's going to grab it with both hands. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, and like I say, it's one of them waiting games in it, but he's a mandatory, and he's either the guy vacates or he defends it, and he's not going to want to vacate, is he, the guy? So it gives Williams a good opportunity, yes, and I think he will do good.
Yeah, I do as well. I think he really does shot the world. I really do think he'll go over there and bring it back home.
Yeah.
Obviously, I want to talk to you about obviously that night you won the IBO Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
On points. How did it feel winning your second title? Obviously, you won the Midlands area title. How did it feel winning your second title?
Yeah, it felt great. It was obviously it was a beautiful title as well. Like the IBO doesn't get massive recognition, but like the belts are really, really good looking belts. So for me, just to have a nice looking belt was good. But yeah, it was mint. Like obviously the lad had a winning record as well, so it was a nice little step up, and obviously to push me on to other fights in the future. But yeah, it was a great night. Just the atmosphere was great. Like my performance was good. I didn't get caught at all really in the fights. he was a very tough man, mind. I did hit him hard in the fight, but he just didn't go anywhere. But it was good to get another 10 rounds out. I know I can go to championship distance when it comes to it. I've got all the confidence in that. And yeah, it was great. And it was nice just to have the title around my waist and that. And just for my supporters to have something to say, look at this lad we've been supporting. He's got another title. So, and it's solidified. Obviously, Frank Warren's signing me as well. So it's all good.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that's a great achievement. Obviously, your 10th fight, obviously, winning another title it's a really good achievement. Has that made you hungry to climb up the rankings and maybe one day get a title shot at world level?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I don't know what Frank Warren's plans are with me yet in terms of what route they want to get me go down. But yeah, it's just great having the title. It's just nice in the city as well. Like just showing your title off and stuff. It is really good. So in the future, whatever they can bring me and whatever I can fight for, if I can win it, fantastic. But it does make you more hungry. It makes you want to do it, win something else, and keep progressing. But like I say, I've got to beat my opponent next time. The one I've got it, Ryan Oliver, and see what happens after that.
Yeah, I want to talk about your opponent. Is it Ryan Oliver? Obviously, I think he's 7-2.
Yeah.
You know much about him? You seen many of his fights?
Yeah. Well, I watched his last fight, and I've watched a few fights previously as well. He's predominantly had journeyman level fighters throughout his career, but he did have a good fight against someone in Bermuda recently. Well, just before the lockdown in January last year. So. And he's well schooled. He is well schooled. He boxes well. He slips. He moves. He's tricky. He knows how to frame his body right when he's moving. And I think he makes for a very good opponent. I think he should have I don't think he should have lost his last fight in Bermuda, but it was a away fight, a close fight. But I did think he won. I thought he won it. So yeah, he's a good opponent, and he's obviously stepping up himself. And it's another winning record on my record if I beat him, and yeah, it's good. He's good.
Okay, I want to ask you a few more questions. What's the short-term and long-term goal for yourself?
Short-term goal is I want to fight for the British title. Obviously, whoever's the champion at the time, I won't know, because I'm hoping hopefully towards the end of 2021. Yeah, it's 2021. Yeah, maybe I'm getting years. Maybe I've been punched many times. End of 2021, we'll get hopefully fight for the British title. Like I said, I don't know who the champion's going to be. Whether it still be Bentley, whether it be someone else. Whether Bentley moves on to higher titles, you never know what could happen. But ultimately, the first step is British title. After that, anything else. If you're the British champion, you can do a lot of things in the sport, but you got to win that first. So that's the most important one for me. Short term, long term. I've got to win that title first before I can think of anything else.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's such a prestige title. I'm sure you're going to be watching the fight between Bentley and Cash and keep an eye on how that ends.
Yeah, man, 100%. Yeah, it's I think all the middleweights will be watching that, because it's a great fight as well. Even if you're just a boxing fan or a fighting fan, it's a great fight. But for the fellow middleweights, you definitely got to keep an eye on the guys that you hopefully want to fight one day. Yeah, so it'd be good.
Brilliant. Another question I want to ask you. Obviously, this fight looks like it's edging closer to happening. A fight that is going to go down in British boxing history. Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury for undisputed heavyweight titles. I want to ask you, because me and my colleague at P4P Boxing Show asked a lot of the fighters this question. How do you see this fight going?
It's a tough one, but personally, I feel, it's like the Felix Cash kind of Bentley scenario. I think Fury has got the footwork and the ability to box, to keep him long and box him all night. But Joshua can absolutely bang and is very good at punching as well and boxing himself. I think if Fury moves and boxes, I think he makes it a nightmare for Joshua. I think he wins. But if Joshua clocks him, then I think he could stop him. So it's a great fight. It is a 50-50 one. I think if Fury does what he needs to do tactically, I think he should have the attributes to beat Joshua, because he's tall as well. But if he doesn't do the right things, Joshua's going to knock him out. But I'm going to say Fury.
Fury. There's a lot of people who voted for Fury. I don't think we've had one person vote for Joshua this year.
Yeah, see, it's not. That's nothing against Joshua. I think Joshua. Well, you can see what he's got in terms of the sport and who he's being. I just think, I don't know, but he can shock everyone by knocking Fury out, and he definitely can. He definitely can knock Fury out 100%. It just depends what Fury turns up, because Fury is very, very awkward and very tall as well, and he moves like a bloody middleweight. So I mean, it's not like he's not a normal heavyweight. He can move, and but we'll have to see what happens. But I'm edging towards Fury. But it's a great fight anyway.
Yeah, it's a great fight. I mean, it's a fight where it's been talked about for a long, long time now, and we're finally hopefully gonna get it. And I can't wait for it.
But it'd be weird for Joshua to be the betting underdog. But like you say, if everyone's going for Fury, surely Joshua will be the underdog, even though he's got more titles. So it's a strange. It'd be interesting. I'm not a betting man. I don't bet anyway on sport, but like that'd be an interesting bet to have. That would.
Yeah, I'm sure it would. Innit? I'm sure it would. I mean, like I said, it's heavyweight boxing. Anything's possible. One punch can change the fight. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this fight. Hopefully, they do get this deal over the line and put on a great show for the British fans.
Yeah, massively, mate, massively.
Just before I let you go, obviously, I want to talk about your fight. I want to ask you for a quick message to your fans and to your opponent going into this fight.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say, obviously, it's gutting that me guys can't be there, but I'm sure they'll be watching at home, so get a takeaway, get a curry, a beer, or whatever. Enjoy the night, and hopefully I'll put a good show on for you. Obviously, thank you to my sponsors, like these guys here. Thank you to them. And yeah, whatever happens to the fight, I'm sure it's going to be entertaining. He's a good fighter that I'm fighting, and he's there to beat me. So let's see what happens.
Brilliant, champ. Thanks very much for coming on. Absolute pleasure having you on, Nathan. And I wish you the very best going into this fight.
Thank you very much, mate. You're a star. You're a gentleman.
Thank you very much. Take care now. Bye-bye.
You too, man.